All right, it's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And to begin our conversation on the influence of integrative medicine on universal health coverage, here's a background report put together by our correspondent Joseph Otsen.
Despite Nigeria's strategic position as the most populous in Africa, the country is greatly underserved in healthcare. Limited access to essential medicines, poor health infrastructure, and dissatisfaction with orthodox medicine are pushing many to rely heavily on traditional or herbal medicine. The World Health Organization estimates that herbal therapies, which represents the most common form of traditional medicine in Nigeria and Africa, are used by up to 80% of the populace. Their affordability alongside individual religious and cultural beliefs are said to be contributing to the wide use. Towards achieving universal health coverage by 2030, experts are advocating integrated medicine, which involves the combination of conventional medicine and that of traditional medicine into the global health system. With such strategy, they believe much ground will be covered to enable all people have access to the full range of quality health services they need when and where they need them without financial hardship. This is supported by evidence that integrative medicine has been efficacious in treatment of several diseases. In 2023, the World Health Organization held an annual Traditional Medicine Global Summit in India, where it promoted evidence-based integration of the practice. However, to get it right, many experts want questions on standardization, quality, and safety to be addressed. For Nigeria, the integrative medicine is viewed as key element in bridging the healthcare gap. Emphasis was made when the present administration launched the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Compact back in 2023. The hope is that when major actors like governments and international partners demonstrate strong political will and invest more in integrative medicine, quality healthcare system will find its roots, even in remote and hard-to-reach areas, and among those with little resources. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will, however, share more insight on the influence of integrative medicine on universal health coverage.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Osen, for that background report. And now to begin the conversation, we have been joined right here in the studio by Dr. Balarabe Shehu Kakale, Chairman Lahia Sak Almajiri TAS Integrative Health and Education Initiative. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you, Nigerians.
Now, also joining us here is pharmacist Zainab Ujudud Sharif, former Director, Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine, TCAM, and Coordinator, TCAM Advocacy Group, Nigeria. She's also a medicinal plant expert. Thank you for joining us in Good Morning, Nigeria. We have also been joined here in the studio by Dr. John Toa Bidie, neurotoxicologist, integrative medicine expert, Secretary General, West African Society of Integrative Medicine, and Chairman, TCAM Advocacy Group in Nigeria. Thank you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning, Nigerians. It is a pleasure to be here.
All right, it's a fully packed conversation, and we still have joining us for this discussion from our Enugu studio, Professor Ernest Ugo, Professor of Homeopathic Medicine and Chairman, Nigerian Union of Practitioners of Complementary and Alternative Medicine. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Zoom from Zaria, Kaduna State. We have Dr. Dada Nakowa Usman. Oh, he's with us here. Oh, okay. So I have Dr. Dada Nakowa Usman right here in the Abuja studio. Thank you so much. He's a modern traditional medicine practitioner, TCAM National Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Health, President, Greenwood Association for Medicinal Plants, Conservation, Preservation and Exhibition. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let's begin with the chairman, Lahia Sak Almajiritas Integrative Health and Education Initiative, who has joined us via Zoom. Please, for the benefit of all of us and indeed the viewers, give us a sense of what integrative medicine is all about and, you know, how it might help to solve the numerous health challenges that we may have, whether independently or in sync with, you know, the medicines as we know them.
Well, thank you very much. And good morning, Nigerians, once again. Integrative medicine, of course, have a very expansive definition. But what it really stands for is an amalgamation of types of therapy, remedies of well-being amongst people. So it's a combination of, for example, orthodox medicine, complementary medicine, and natural medicine as it may to achieve the best result for health promotion and well-being. So currently, for example, in most parts of Nigeria and even the world, there is, so to say, an overload of orthodox as well as allopathic medicine amongst most people seeking for health. And what that means is people sometimes are misdiagnosed or are mistreated, and then they end up having an overload of drugs that might not necessarily treat their ailments. And that's what essentially has led us to the epidemic of drug abuse in this country and even beyond. But now, integrative medicine it's within informed knowledge of what health is all about at the basic level, to achieve the best of healthcare, well-being in its mental, social, and physical state. So natural remedies are very important there. Complementary also components of health are extremely important there. Nutrition and mental health. So in essence, is a composite balance of health interventions that have the patient at the center for the best outcomes in health, mental, and social well-being of individuals.
For your opening remarks, Honorable Kakale. Let's come back to the studio right here in Abuja, and like pharmacist Zainab Sharif to expand on what Honorable has said, and then specifically I want you to be speaking to how effective this integrative medicine really is.
For the clearer understanding of our viewers, the background report has said it all. What do we mean by integrative medicine? Bringing back together all health interventions. And the WHO recognizes 3 healthcare systems: the allopathic, conventional, orthodox medicine. We all know that with global standards set up. Then we have the traditional medicine. Every society has its own traditional medicine. It's our cultural heritage, way of healing, mitigation, intervention, and prevention of ailments. Okay? And then we have the CAM, the complementary and alternative medicine aspect. Any intervention, any health intervention that is not either orthodox or traditional becomes complementary and alternative medicine. Example, traditional medicine in China, acupuncture, but it becomes alternative medicine to other countries. Our own traditional medicine becomes alternative to Ghana. So these 3 healthcare systems, WHO has recognized. And from your background reports, you clearly stated that 80% of our people use the traditional medicine. So that means they may not have orthodox medicine as their first choice, That is, traditional medicine is their choice. So integrative medicine, as recognized, we felt that if you must achieve universal health coverage, we must bring together all these three recognized healthcare systems. The orthodox emphasizes more on curative. Traditional, complementary, and alternative medicine emphasizes more on preventive and treatment. Okay, environmental factors. It addresses the individual holistically. Complete health, just as defined by health. Health is a complete state of physical, mental, social, and even spiritual well-being, not merely the absence of diseases. If we bring together all these health systems, and you realize that developing countries, let's focus on Nigeria. Our health system is not very inadequate. Facilities, personnel, but you have the traditional medicine practitioners in every community, whether we like them or not, delivering services, managing the basic health care, more so the expensive nature of our medicines currently, because we do not have the local contents of any raw materials, so they are imported. What are we left to do with the current challenges? Of course, we go back to our indigenous medicine. That means the practitioners whom we know inherit the practice of healing have a major role to play. As conventional people, as modern people, we must come together to support and see how the populace can benefit from these healthcare interventions. Furthermore, few complementary medicine, aromatherapy, hydrotherapy, like he said, nutrition, vitamin therapy, reflexology, these are forms of health intervention. You don't have to always swallow those pills. Your massage, mental management, all these are interventions that we want to integrate in order for us to be able to achieve health care. And that is why the history and then the emphasis on integrative medicine. That is the best way to go if we believe and if we want our people to be healthy. We emphasize more on wellness and well-being. Let me just...
All right. Thank you very much for at least deciding to stop there. But let me get to Dr. John Toabidie. One thing that often dogs, traditional medicine, alternative medicine, people will talk about dosage, they will talk about evidence. Evidence that is maybe not scientific, evidence to the individual maybe, and you cannot communicate it scientifically. How is there a chance that these hurdles can be overcome?
Well, thank you very much for that question. In reality, we were actually far off. Maybe things were not done right because we're reminded of what Albert Einstein told us, that if you continue to do the same thing over and over and expect different results, that is, insanity. But to go back straight to your question, I think this is the reason why we're now coming together. I don't think there has been any time in the past where you see all of us from different backgrounds answering the call that WHO has put together, the traditional, conventional, and TCAM should all come together. Yes, the problem with traditional medicine, even I have gotten more and more enlightened as I get involved in this. When you hear the word traditional, to an average mind, is that these people are just doing incantations, or maybe just going out there, grabbing herbs, grabbing plants to mix in the pot. Definitely, in the course of your medical training, you are, trained to distance yourself from such practices. As you've rightly said, the dosage is not elucidated. The safety was not elucidated. But that is far-fetched from what is happening now. You hear his own title, classifying it as modern traditional medicine. So modern traditional medicine would require, and it means interfacing different aspects of scientific knowledge. I'm very happy to report that just last Sunday, We visited him in his, site. And what I saw was just unbelievable. You saw different plants that represent constituent of therapeutic, healing. And there are no incantations. He will just go to this plant and open it and then show you either some fluid or some seeds inside. And from my basic training, I also know that these plants, what we call co-evolutionarily trained, when they developed, they contain certain chemicals that protect them against insects and other predators, for survival. Even the weather. Apparently, these chemicals, even proven medically, because if you talk about pharmaceuticals, I mean, the history of pharmaceuticals started from, plants. Penicillin, all of them were developed from, plants. So what I'm saying is that this plant actually contains certain pharmacologically active ingredients. You're talking about these antioxidants like isoflavonoids, flavonoids, and then phenols that have a very important role in our health. So, to cap up with our discussion, we are saying the role for our health, when we talk about universal health coverage, simply means health for all. It cannot be domesticated only in one domain. So WHO has summarized it and said that all these new domains come together under integrative medicine. And integrative medicine has different domains that, pharmacist Zainab had mentioned some of them. But you're looking at allopathic medicine, you're looking at Western medicine, you're looking at holistic medicine, you're looking at osteopathy, you're looking at functional medicine, you're looking at regenerative, medicine. And so the list, continues. So if you see that human being, the best approach to human being's health is holistic, you must look at human being, holistically. A case in point is this. You have cases where somebody will tell you that, oh, he just dropped dead, or he went to bed and then did not. No. Our body is so complicated. The way God made our body, the architecture of the body. Do you know that the blood vessels, capillaries, and then the veins, if you stretch them together like this, they cover over 60,000 miles? Yes. The nerves, if you put them together, they cover over 90,000 miles. So how can such a complex,
be compressed into a human?
So yes, and then he just collapses. He's been neglected. We always say this: no man ever dies of what? Old age. You die because as you age, because of the wrong lifestyle, then you pick on disease. Disease comes in. And the thing has been made very clear now, especially in the era of what you call non-communicable diseases or emerging diseases. The situation has differed from what we were facing in the past. The history of infectious disease, where you're looking at bacterial or viral epidemics. The non-communicable diseases are more complicated, so it also needs a multifaceted approach in addressing them, and this is what you call integrative medicine. Nutrition is really very important. It is no longer the domain of one person. What you think is pharmacist Zainab already talked about, the preventive aspect, which is really very important. And even when you are to manage disease, take for example, cancer is very complex. For cancer to develop, it takes over 10 years for it to develop. You have over 10 biological events that set in. So you cannot just look at one approach that you're going to treat or manage a cancer. It must be a multifaceted approach. And this is what integrative medicine is saying. Or it should be holistic. You see, the same blood that passes through the heart is the same blood that passes through the kidney. So why do you think that your focus, you just be focused on the heart? Maybe because you did some lab tests and so elevated, liver enzymes. No, it goes beyond that. So you look at detoxification, you look at what we call cell membrane optimization, and you look at intravenous nutritional infusion. Man is born naturally to heal himself. It is when we disobey and do certain things wrong in the name of lifestyle that our immune system goes down and we are exposed to disease. So we must have a holistic approach, and this is what WHO is calling on. Traditional are very important, pharmacists are very important, GPs are very important, and all aspects.
All right, thank you, Dr. John. I'd like to find out from Dr. Usman, Dada Usman. He talked about the fact that you're a modern traditional medicine practitioner. I want you to tell us what the difference is, from being a modern traditional medicine practitioner and the traditional medicine practitioners that we've always known, growing up and we see in movies. And then speak to us about how cost effective this is, really, because pharmacist Zainab already talked about the cost of medical care at the moment, if you like, orthodox, and it's not news. Drugs are very expensive and all of that. Is this really cheaper? Are the services cheaper, and are they better than the orthodox medicine?
The modern traditional medicine, see, you call it, say, modern, because you put down for modern system. If you say modern traditional medicine, put down for modern system, how you go measure the medicine, how you can use the medicine. Because that's why I call the modern traditional medicine practitioner. Not be like that old local one, how you put down for modern system. And modern traditional medicine is a traditional and it's a powerful medicine, because if you like their office, you get many cases. Sometimes myself, the case you will say you will carry to abroad, but if you return to your modern medicine hospital, but you will see how they improving. So you call the federal government to support and their council in traditional medicine in Nigeria, because the modern traditional medicine you have many different medicine, even for cancer, for diabetes, for gonorrhea, for mental problem, even about for.
How not they test this medicine to make sure say they really work for that particular disease when they claim say they cure?
That's a call for model. It tests for people and it work. Different
So
angles.
you're testing on people.
Yes.
So which means it's trial and error.
Yes.
Is it trial and error? Because if you're testing on people, like orthodox medicine, we want to go to the lab and do the test and be sure, with the dosage and all of that. This is traditional now, or modern traditional. So, you say you're testing on individuals. So how are you sure this is curing cancer? And then for you to be able to replicate that same treatment on another person who has that same ailment?
Yes, if you say their work and God give her the knowledge, you go know how you go give the medicine, and if God great, you will treat. Yes.
So how you go pass them on to another person? I mean, nobody lives forever. So this is knowledge that you have. So that's why orthodox is different. All right. Another doctor gets trained in school, so he knows that, this is the requirement for so and so ailment. Now this is modern traditional. How do you want to pass this knowledge to someone else? Or maybe you may be in one location. How do you want to tell somebody else about how to go about treating that same ailment? Or it has to be just you that God has given that knowledge.
That's what you call a modern system. Everything put down for a system. For come together, work together. Even for Federal Ministry of training them very well. I'm TCAM National Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Health. The Federal Ministry of training them how we go measure the medicine for the treat the people.
Okay, so that means another person now feel learn this this medicine treatment and still feel treat the same person with the same with the same measurements and drugs.
Yes, but God great.
Okay.
And two, he call about for medicinal plan for green world, because many medicine, even for here in Nigeria, many treat as wrong. But he call a medicinal plan, she plant the medicine, many treat route, you will come back. That's what I call medicinal plan. I'm the green world president for medicinal plan. Conservation, exhibition, and exportation. Okay. Yes.
Some of the plants that are going extinct.
Yeah, plants that are going.
So focusing on conserving them, preserving them.
Do you export them?
They are cultivating them first. You must cultivate and then preserve, because most of our plants are going extinct. So we need to replant them. So in their association, that's what he's doing.
Go ahead.
And sometimes you will see you will have many cases for hospital to back to their hospital modern traditional medicine. Sometimes the sick person go sick, the hospital say you no see the sickness, you no see that sick. And if you come back to model, if we give them by God grade, the thing go better. Even for mental problem, above for cancer.
Okay.
Sometimes for spiritual attack myself, their medicine. If you no come back to model system, how you go know the person get the spiritual attack? Even for jinn, for witchcrafts.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your inputs. Let's quickly get to our Enugu studio, where we have Professor Ernest Ugo, who is a professor of homeopathic medicine and chairman Nigeria Union of Practitioners of Complementary and Alternative Medicine. Thank you very much for your patience. Now, please tell us, how can what does your association do in particular? What's the style of treatment or medicine that your association practices? And how does it help against chronic diseases like diabetes, cancer, and the likes of them?
Thank you very much. The issue of integrative medicine is gaining ground worldwide. And what is the reason? The reason is because of frustration. So many ailments cannot be treated successfully by the Western medicine and other systems. In fact, when I was in the medical school, I used to ask my own professor of medicine some intriguing questions. And he ended up telling us those sicknesses that cannot be cured are called idiopathic ailments. So there is limitation in modern medicine. Modern medicine has advanced a lot in surgery, in technology, in orthopedic medicine, radiation, etc. But there are limitations, and it is becoming very obvious worldwide. So that is why the World Health Organization started looking into other systems of medicine. I am a homeopathic doctor. It's a component of complementary and alternative medicine, where we have osteopathy, chiropractic medicine, acupuncture, naturopathy, etc., and traditional medicine. As they have defined, even in the background information given to us before we commenced this discussion, integrative medicine is a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, a little of that, a little of orthodox medicine, a little of complementary and alternative medicine, a little of traditional medicine, etc. So it is very, very important you understand why this branch of medicine, this integrative medicine, is gaining ground. There are so many cases of cancer that cannot be treated, even with chemotherapy, with radiation, with antibiotics. You see the mortality rate going up. So this integration is very, very, very important. Nobody says he can cure everything. As you're asking now about cancer, about diabetes, my own branch of medicine in the complementary and alternative system does not believe in curing diseases. You do the laboratory tests, you do all the investigations, and you find out, you establish a diagnosis. Yes, this is cancer. Yes, this is diabetes mellitus, or whatever. My own branch of medicine believes that the cause, the causative factor of this disharmony in the system is deeper than what the diagnosis is saying. So the patient must be looked at from a totality angle. You must check the psychological symptoms, the mind symptoms, the emotional symptoms, the pathological symptoms, and then the data, laboratory data you have collected. And from there, you ask some other questions. And then from that point, you can establish what is wrong, what has caused the disharmony. So it is important that we understand why integrative medicine is gaining ground. Our traditional medicine practitioners, we accuse them of not having dosology, posology, but the federal government has established the NAFDAC that tests the toxicology of these medicines and the efficacy of these medicines and lists them, or at times registers them. So we cannot conclude that the traditional medicines are not working. What is important is to train them very well and expose them to modern measurements and pharmacology. So this is what the integrative medicine is all about. We have to come together. The orthodox doctors, the complementary and alternative medicine practitioners, the traditional medicine practitioners, even those who are in the field of religion, we have them also as alternative. You see somebody telling you he has anointing and is touching someone and the person is falling. We have to examine what is happening, what magnetism, what is making that person to fall, and then establish whether their claims are correct. If somebody says, I was prayed for and I got healed, you don't have to dismiss it. We have to check all these things and then take them in totality. That is what the World Health Organization is talking about. And that is what is integrative medicine. And then, as we progress, we may have to, because the topic is the influence of integrative medicine on universal health coverage. We have to check whether in Nigeria, integrative medicine is accepted, whether it has effect in the primary health care of Nigeria, because many Nigerians are in the villages. And as pharmacist Zainab said, about 80% of Nigerians are using traditional medicine. So it is important that this integrative medicine is embedded into the primary health care system of Nigeria to be able to reach the people. So let me stop so far. Let me not monopolize the discussion. Thank you
very much, Professor Ernest Ugo, for your take there. From what you're saying, even pastors too can be said to be part of those who administer integrative medicine. Okay, so let's get to Honorable Kakali, because one of the claims by the orthodox doctors, when you speak to them, why did you not incorporate traditional medicine, or if you like, all these other forms of healing, whether in the church or in the mosque or anywhere, as part of their procedure, is because there's no evidence as to how the healing took place. So, Honorable Kakali, I would like you to give some clarity to that. Is there any current evidence base for the effectiveness of integrative medicine in treating various health conditions? And in your own opinion, what further research is needed to make this integrative medicine a first port of call as far as primary health care is concerned in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Once again, whether modern medicine, allopathic medicine, or orthodox medicine, all of them, their foundations are the traditional medicine or natural medicine or organic medicine, which came from plants and other roots, as well as food substances that have been consumed over the years. Even the father of medicine, Hippocrates, in those days, he was using natural medicaments and other remedies to cure diseases. And that's how the evidence comes in with research and documentation. And that's exactly what we are doing with people like Dadenokua, the chairman of Modern Traditional Medicine Center, where we help them research and documentation on the effect of substances or medicaments given to patients. So they will be able to really provide that evidence that those medicines or therapies work. And we were also doing it with all the other specialists in different fields that we have here in that respect. And in essence, to some extent, we also go into clinical trials, phase 1, which will also document where those medicaments and traditional preparations work and where they don't work. It's the same thing with modern medicine. And let me tell you something about traditional complementary alternative medicine. It doesn't speak English. Just like Dadenokua tried to explain himself in Pidgin, that is the language that our people at the grassroots understand. The fact that English is even a barrier to most of these people. If Dadenokua or any other traditional practitioner to speak in his own native language of Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba, I'm telling you, they will explain themselves better. And what we are working on is the issue of regulation, evidence-based research and documentation. And we continue to develop on these things. Let me give you an example. For example, hello?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. An example I want to give you is I'm from Sokoto State, the seat of the Caliphate. And the leaders of Sokoto Caliphate over 200 years ago have written multiple books on medicine and health and well-being. Sheikh Usman Danfodio wrote a lot of books, on health, particularly mental health. There are a series of books, 10 of them. And the intellectual giant of Sokoto Caliphate, Sheikh Abdullah ibn Fodio, also wrote books. There's Masayil al-Hisan. There's a compendium of literature on different aspects of natural and medicine and health and well-being. He wrote on what we can call modern day pediatrics, maternal health, and ethics and codes of medicine. He even wrote on fake drugs and how caregivers should treat their patients, how patients should also be handled, and diseases be documented up to the point of treatment. Sultan Muhammadu Bello wrote multiple books on eye diseases and ophthalmology, that is ophthalmology, and on kidney diseases, nephrology. One of his famous books on nutrition of Adiwatul Didan, and another one Adiwatul Basu, talked about dysentery and worms. He classified worms, their types, and the kind of disease they have. There's also Ojulatul Rakibi that was written by Muhammad Tukur Dambinta, that talked about nutrition. It's very important place in care and regeneration of patients. So these books currently, of course, we really want to thank His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto for translating these books in English and in Hausa, and in for people to use. And we are compiling that data with general consumption of Nigerians and beyond. These treatments of traditional complementary medicine are for preventive and promotive medicine and well-being. We are not in competition with allopathic or modern medicine. Probably, if I might use the catchphrase of the security agencies, we are for the non-kinetic treatment, which is the base of healthcare in Nigeria, while modern medicine is more of kinetic currently, and that's the tip of the iceberg. It's mainly modern medicine has been more of pushing on the curative aspect, when the major basic primary healthcare component, that is the base of the primate, has not been where we wanted, and that's why currently we are still ravaging with the killer diseases of children. We are still battling with tuberculosis, malnutrition, and other cases of epidemics Lassa fever, meningitis, and the rest. But with complementary and traditional medicine, being given the proper role to play, they can really help at the grassroots level in health education, in nutrition, in water, sanitation, and hygiene. And that will really prevent most of these diseases. And they are with the people. And when I was in the National Assembly, I personally distributed traditional and complementary medicinal therapies to members, and hundreds of members came to my office to collect during COVID. COVID remedies, and we interacted with NAFDAC, and they approved it. So a lot of Nigerians, as our other presenters said, 80% use traditional and complementary medicine. Let me repeat: we are for preventive, promotive health and well-being. Nobody says in traditional medicine you're going to open the brain of a patient and do surgery on brain tumors, or open heart surgeries, or do kidney transplant. No, the main thing is promotive, preventive health and well-being, so that Nigerians will benefit from the basic levels of primary care before you go to a hospital and end up with the curative component, which still comes down with high morbidity and mortality. So we are merely non-kinetic. We don't cut patients. We don't do surgeries. The kinetic component still goes with our hospitals and our orthodox doctors, which we have great respect for, and we'll continue to collaborate with.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Kakale. Let's get back here in the studio, and let me get to pharmacist Zainab. I'm just wondering, let's get a little bit practical. Yours is promotive and preventive. And so, if someone has, say, diabetes, is it out of your reach? If not, what would you be prescribing? What would you do?
Okay, let me just chip in some few words before I answer you. I want us to accept that nobody cures any disease. Nobody on earth cures any disease. It's only Almighty God that cures. Hence, medicus curat natural suna. Man treats and manages. It's only God. Back to a point that she said, all this medicine is evidence-based. Where is the evidence? There are certain things you cannot know, but you know it exists and you feel it. Why don't we keep quiet and leave it to God? All human beings, the scientists that work on drugs to prove the standards, are human beings like me and you. Can they not make error? They are prone to error. So let us not always say it must be this or that. Because there are certain things, you don't see God, you believe in God. You don't see Jesus Christ, you believe in Jesus Christ. We don't see, we believe. So God in himself cannot give you every knowledge. Certain things cannot be claimed that it must be 100% scientifically proven. This God will not allow that, just to chip in. However, he gives man the mechanism to be able to process and add knowledge. You said diabetes, analysis. Kakale emphasized on prevention. When you prevent, you are less likely to get the disease. When the disease comes, then you apply the correct measure. That is why we talked about the integrative medicine. Diagnosis, analysis, laboratory analysis, we are talking orthodox. That we clearly state these are what are the parameters that are exhibited the person is exposed to their diabetes. However, when it comes to the management of diabetes, there is no one way to managing diabetes. You cannot say strictly orthodox, and you cannot say either complementary or traditional. Integrative. You take the drugs, the complementary alternative is supportive therapy. What do we mean by supportive therapy? No matter how you take your orthodox drugs, you don't have the correct nutrition. Will you be fine? Nutrition plays a role there. That is integrative. No matter how you take the orthodox, you don't look at things like exercise, physical exercise. You cannot be complete. No matter how you take your orthodox drugs, you don't look at some aspects. Nowadays, there is a system of medicine that seems to prove some degree of managing ailments much faster than we think. Some scientists will tell you there's a lot of emphasis now on ozone therapy. The experts will tell you, I'm not an expert in that, but I'm telling you that these are interventions that can help. So, in curative aspect, which we clearly said, the orthodox is the right approach to that. But when you say prevention and management through nutrition, which we have emphasized, you eat the correct food. Most of our people now, we eat a lot of processed foods. No matter the level of technology, Dr. Rising in 1930 said, if you do not eat well, the doctor cannot cure you, no matter how. So you must go back and eat well. So nutrition is very important for you. For us in Africa, let's come back to Nigeria. Where are those traditional foods? We have been bastardized by Western foods. Our children are having diabetes at an early age. They have hypertension. What is the process? Your grandmother used to give you those fresh vegetables. Did you know those things you were eating were giving you positive health? They were boosting your immunity. If you look at the zones we come from, our particular dishes are very rich. Akwa Ibom, blessed with all those vegetable soup. Is it the atama, the edikako? This is the rainy season. In the rainy season, God has given us the vegetables that we can use to eat. For this, there is a purpose. There are fruits for this season. So when we eat those fruits and vegetables in this season, it gives good health to us before it goes off. Okay? There are some other plants from other regions. For us in the north, you know, we talk about moringa. Moringa is almost a complete nutrient. These are foods that are good for us. The Yoruba talk about ikokore. It's a kind of vegetable dish. All these are foods that we must begin to emphasize nutrition. Somebody will tell me, which I agree, healthcare is expensive. You have malaria, you go down to manage malaria, most of the drugs are imported. What was your mother teaching you? Go and steam. Did you do that when you were young? Mm-hmm. Did you steam? So why did you accept it?
Well, when you steam, you steam sometimes with something inside the water.
That is it. What was it inside? Are they not plants? I don't want to use the agbo. They are plants. The guava, the pawpaw, the mango leaves, which are near your house. God has given you Paracelsus. A natural healer said, your meadows and your pastures shall be your farmers. What is near you, what is outside you, is the plants that God has given to you. We are looking Sokoto when it is in Sokoto.
But not everything. For instance, you talked about fruits in season and all of those, that they are in season for a reason, right?
Yes.
If you have diabetes, for instance, this is mango season.
Yes.
You don't go consuming mango as if it's going out of fashion, because it's not going to be good for you. And that's why you can't eat everything. Even if it's traditional, you're not going to eat it.
You must talk in moderation. You must talk in moderation. Everything can be abused if wrongly used. Mango that you have mentioned contains a lot of nutrients. The sugar in it cannot definitely affect the diabetes if it takes in moderation, because of the whole holistic and analyzing the composition of mango. Vitamin C, vitamin A, phytonutrients, antioxidants, which the diabetic patient needs, because as he gets the diseases, certain nutrients diminishes. These are then in fruits. What do you have again in season? I said all these vegetables. God is not wrong to give it to you at that time.
All right.
Eat my people so that you'll be healthy and prepare for the next season.
Agreed. Nutrition plays a key role. But taking you back to your earlier point about man only treats and God cures. Yes. Of course, you hear that phrase even in modern hospitals, if you like, Orthodox, from Orthodox practitioners. But don't you think that that same God, or if you like, religion, is the same reason why some people would not patronize the traditional medicine expert? Because a Christian will tell you, well, I go to God through Jesus. The Muslim will tell you, I go to God through Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
And they tell you, well, if you go to a traditional medicine expert, you're probably going to God through your ancestors or some gods
We
that
don't
you don't
belong to. We don't
so
analyze those.
so so I want to that's
Yes.
like a perspective why some people would not want to patronize. So how do you want to
Manage. How do you get it? You see, when you move close, for example, President Modern Herbal Practitioners, we collaborated with them in the Federal Ministry of Health. Why? The aspect of traditional medicine that comes with science, we are interested in that. What is the aspect? Ask your grandmother who delivered your father or your father's father. Was it not a traditional birth attendance? In the 50s, there were no hospitals. Before the coming of the 50s, the healers were there, the natural healers. So they were able to use them to heal, to be able to use them to manage the diseases. Okay? Even these traditional medicine practitioners, the ones that, you see, we are not here to talk about the occultist group or the other people that are doing the Buddhism. No. We are here as integrative medicine to bring out what is beneficial. Some aspect of traditional medicine, which we are interested in, is the herbal medicine. They are modern, the way they diagnose, looking at it, understanding. If you go to China, they don't use stethoscope to diagnose their diseases. The Chinese traditional medicine have a way of diagnosing their own disease and treating their own disease. And they have worked on their own. India, Ayurveda, if you go to them, they have a way of diagnosing the disease. More interesting, if you want to read Ayurvedic medicine in India, you spend 5 years. If you want to read modern medicine in India, you spend 5 years. Why are they doing this? They do not want to forget their own. They want them to go together. At the end of the day, when COVID came, where were we? We're relying on the world to bring to us. But everybody was consuming their own. The importance of every time saying traditional medicine is bad, I don't think is right. Let's speak out. 45% of our orthodox drugs started from traditional medicine. Those were the scientists. We used, the scientists went to them. That's why we're asking for collaboration. We went to see him. If you see a lot of medicinal plants for diabetes, what do you call it? BP, cancer. Why don't we pick it? Further expose it to research for the benefit of Nigerians. Why must we? Even paracetamol, the cheapest drug, the raw material is brought from outside. Where are we heading to? The benefits of using our medicinal plants, which is over 10,000 species, can never be overemphasized. Health benefits, nutritional benefits, economic goals. When there is massive cultivation of these medicinal plants, what happens? Job creation, wealth creation. The whole world is looking for organic products. In Nigeria lies some of these plant species. Are you aware that the Chinese are going to our farms, our indigenes? They go to our local markets to buy our hibiscus sabderifa, our zobo, ship them massively. Are you aware they go to take our moringa? Are you aware they go to take our kasha tora? And this, we are looking at them. They export them and then bring it to you as green tea. No. Something is
all right. Thank you, Pharmacist Sheriff. Thank you very much for your contribution. The conversation gets more interesting, but we pause here for a break. When we return, the discussion continues. All right, thanks for staying tuned. This is Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we've been discussing integrative medicine. Now, let me get back here to Dr. John Toabidie. I'm just wondering, at what point does the integrative medicine and orthodox medicine converge? At what point do they meet? And in all of this, where is the place for yoga, for instance?
Well, thank you very much for that question. Let me give a short background and then I'll go to specific of your own question. You know, yeah, very, very short. I'll make it snap. We don't have a whole day. You see, we've really neglected some basic, principles. Man, when you look at health of a man, man is a tripart that we talk about. Man, the spirit, the body, and the soul. This is what makes man. Apparently, we spend all our time and training in looking at the body. That is where, medicine comes in. Even that body, you have the biological phase and then you have the physical aspect of the body. Now, what are you thinking about the spirit? What are you thinking about the soul? The spirit has been further exploited more than the soul, because this is where you have spiritual, trainers. You have pastors and all these people that are trained in the spirit of the same man. Then the soul, totally neglected. The soul has three components. You're looking at the intellect, then you're looking at, the will. Then most importantly, you're looking at the emotions. Emotions contribute a lot. We talk about that. Three aspects of emotion. You look at positive emotion, negative emotion, and the mixed emotion. Negative emotion can cause you disease, or they say they kill even faster than bad germs. We don't look at this aspect. We just focus on one aspect of head. But this man, if you don't look at him in three aspects, and this looking at man in three aspects in simple terms is what integrative person represents. That you cannot just focus on the body, chemicals. I'm not calling against chemicals. But let me just, for the benefit of time, let me just come and answer your question directly. You've asked me specifically that what is the interfacing role between integrative medicine and what is it? Look, I'm an integrative medicine, practitioner. Expert. And basically, let me just run through a short scenario of what we do actually practical. A new patient coming to me or coming to our center must first of all be examined by an allopathic physician. We have a doctor that will evaluate him and look at everything, check him and this. Then after that,
what do you use in checking?
Oh well, that is
or just the eyes?
No. Ask the medical doctor for that. But it is complete evaluation. What we call cracking. You take his history, you take his everything. His overall history. Yes. And also in integrative medicine, because lifestyle is very important, we have a questionnaire that will take you over 30 minutes to answer. By the time you finish answering these questions, we know exactly who you are in terms of your lifestyle. Now, after the doctor finishes that, then we must send the individual for comprehensive, lab analysis. In the comprehensive lab analysis, we are looking at the holistic aspect of, man. Of the 9 systems, they all work synergistically. We don't look at one individual. The person suffering from hypertension, maybe his kidney have already been destroyed. So you have to check his renal function. You look at, the liver function. Then you look at holistic immune system, everything. Then it is when you are done with this that the diagnosis is now made. There are aspects where I will require a urologist. We invite Dr. Kene to come in so that we can handle that man that has a problem with prostate. And this is why I use my functional modalities of ozone therapy in combination with his knowledge and his skill. And we've been able to effectively achieve what we call prostatic ozone therapy that will shrink the prostate like this. Then there are cases where we need a cardiovascular surgeon for his own input. He comes in and then I deploy the principles of disease management and then treat the individuals. We're looking at the holistic. And there are cases where we use even counseling. My pastor will come and talk to the individual and counsel them. We've had cases, in fact, if you want to know, toxic emotion, like toxic relationship, abusive relationship in marriages can even lead to diseases like depression, anxiety, and then other things. So we look at all these aspects, and that's why we say that the emphasis is holistic. Having said that, let me throw this quick one. You see, man has gone through different phases in his medicine. You know, when God created Adam and Eve, they were in garden, has to feed only on plants. Now, as life evolved, things became more complicated. Man now started thinking that, oh, disease came as a result of evil spirit. That is what they call medicine 1.0. That disease are caused by certain evil spirit, or something is really causing disease. We passed that phase, then we went to the second phase of medicine 2.0, where we came to know that there are certain infectious diseases, bacteria, viruses, and crowned with the development of industrial revolution. That is where things like microscope and the rest of them, if you want, that is the beginning of modern, medicine. They depended on this, and they were able to do great things, and they are still doing great things. However, we came to the third phase now of what you call non-communicable diseases. It's more than just you are looking at infectious agents, bacteria that could be cured with a single agent with antibiotics. It has gone beyond that. So we come to the era of, today one is more likely to die from cancer or diabetics than any of the infectious diseases because of the complexity. And this is what has called for the multifaceted approach in management of this.
No, but you're already managing together from all that you have said. If you need this, you bring in this person.
Oh, yes.
If you need this, you bring in this. So what exactly is the challenge now? What is stopping you from moving forward?
Because of lack of understanding and appreciation. People advocacy, we need advocacy so that this, in fact, there are some health professionals. Once you take integrative, no, they don't even, with all due respect, they don't know the meaning of integrative medicine. They say, no, I wasn't trained in integrative medicine. Forgetting the fact that integrative medicine covers you. Whatever health, profession is that, be a nurse, being a nutritionist, being, orthodox, doctor, it covers you. So typically, how do we interface? I have answered that question. And then let me, Pharmacist Zainab had mentioned a specific modality that we use, what we call functional modality, ozone therapy. Why has ozone therapy become so important? Ozone was actually discovered in 1840 in Germany. Today you go to Germany, every corner ozone therapy. We also have even Royal Ozone Hospital in London. That is the royal family actually days on. Since how many centuries? This is what they have been doing. Basically, what are we saying? The unit of life is the cell. And disease starts at the cellular level. It is when the cell is unable to function properly that we describe it that the cell is not at ease. We say it is disease. That's the meaning of, disease. So we look at intervention at the cellular level, and that is where exactly ozone therapy comes in. What is ozone therapy? Oxygen delivered in its own special form that is able to give the cell its own energy. Cells like we human beings, they require energy, and once the cells start getting, that energy, it start functioning, it start working, and that's why you can say it is involved in many, management of, many diseases.
Right,
plus the fundamentals of diseases, which I say detoxification, intravenous nutrition to drive our immune system.
Thank you so much, Dr. John Agbide. You make it look Agbide.
You are only one to Agbide.
All right.
Yes.
You make this look very attractive, and of course, something that Nigeria should adopt fully. And looking at the credentials of Dr. Dada Usman, I can see that you are the TCAM National Coordinator, as well as Federal Ministry of Health. So I want you to speak to us. Tell us about what you're doing. What thing you do with the Federal Ministry of Health?
Federal Ministry of Health collaborate together, and the Ministry of Health training them, and the Ministry of Health collect their product and research. Even for Minister of Science and Tech.
Now, how many products Federal Ministry of Health don't collect now and don't get certification on, as don't they give other people to use?
There are many.
Research is ongoing.
Even for here in Nigeria, myself, the modern traditional medicine get to 600,000 plus members, and the Minister of Health training them all. And submitting different product to the Ministry of Health to research.
All right. Thank you so much. So let's quickly get to Honorable Kakali as we. Okay, we have Ernest to go, Professor Ernest to go. So before we get to Honorable Kakali to give us his final thoughts, Ernest, Professor Ugo, would like you to speak to us about, what we could do. Because at the moment, although we can hear that the Federal Ministry of Health is collaborating with TCAM and to chart a way forward, what can we really do, to get this properly incorporated? Like already mentioned, the modern healthcare, it's not qualitative enough, or if you like, it's not accessible to all. A lot of people are able to reach out to traditional medical practitioners faster, and if you like a pharmacist has said, you can reach these plants and in your neighborhood and all of that, so we can be able to reach more people with good health care. What do you think is the way forward to get this alternative, or if you like, this integrative medicine into our main healthcare system, or if you like, to mainstream it, to make it as
very much. This marriage we're advocating for, that's the marriage between TCAM and conventional medicine, is going to be very useful to Nigeria. About 2 billion people worldwide are not able to access modern medicine because of financial problems. And about 1 billion people from the World Health Organization statistics are not able, because of hardship, to access modern medical facilities and care. It is even worse in Nigeria. There are many people who are dying because they can't pay their medical bills. So we must learn from the experience of COVID-19. I always thank the federal government for deeming it wise to create a department of traditional, complementary, and alternative medicine in the Federal Ministry of Health. And I want to urge them to persuade all the states to introduce the TCAM department in their ministries of health. It's very, very important. And then let integrative medicine be studied even in the higher institutions. It's very, very important. And then our cottage hospitals, our health centers under the primary health care should incorporate integrative medicine. The NAFDAC can help, as I said earlier, in standardization, posology, the toxicological tests, and checking the efficacy of the traditional medicines. The homeopathic medicines are already listed by NAFDAC, and they are used all over the world. They are available even in Nigeria here. And then manipulative medicines. We have people who are specialists and experts. So it is important to fuse this marriage if we want our healthcare system to survive. We shall have a second look at the primary healthcare system in Nigeria. Let's incorporate traditional medicine, complementary medicine, and alternative medicine. As was said earlier by one of the panelists, we can combine orthodox medicine with complementary and alternative medicine. Some of these medicines are complementary. And then the alternative is when the orthodox has failed completely, then they start going to the alternative. So these things can be combined for the benefit of Nigerians. The COVID-19 experience has taught us a lesson in Nigeria. Everybody saw what was happening. The country was at a loss, struggling to help and fix things. But it was not easy. So let us promote this marriage.
Thank you very
Both in the
much,
medical
Professor
school.
Ernest Ugo. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but your point is made and taken. Let me quickly make the short trip to Honorable Kakale, who has joined us via Zoom. Now, you've listened carefully to Professor Ernest Ugo, and I'm asking, what are the challenges in incorporating integrative medicine into mainstream healthcare, and how can they be overcome at this time? Please make it brief.
Well, quickly, it's a matter of regulatory legislation, which in this case, I really want to thank the Ninth Assembly, which I was part of, in passing the National Council Bill, National Council on Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine. As far as to the president for assent, but for some reasons it couldn't get assented to. And the current assembly, yes, are doing a great job. It's been committed and currently at the Senate. With that bill, if it comes into law, traditional and complementary medicine will get a great boost in matters of development, regulation, integration, and also cooperation with allopathic or orthodox medicine. At this juncture, let me also thank the Federal Ministry of Health under the Minister, Professor Alepati, for the support, that they are giving this as very important aspect of medicine, and his counterpart of the Minister of State. The UN has recognized traditional complementary alternative medicine. It's been re-energized, it's been reinvigorated, it's in UN articles and charter and conventions, and Nigeria cannot be left behind. The transformative health agenda of the current Ministry of Health is really captured that well, and it's for the benefit of Nigeria, on matters of health, in matters of boosting the economy, and overall social development, as well as of the country, as well as reversing medical tourism. So that legislation is key, and we are hopeful it will soon be passed at the National Assembly, which will form a superstructure of function, objectives, as well as limitations or regulations of traditional and complementary medicine in Nigeria, so that health becomes available to all, accessible and affordable for all Nigerians at the grassroots, and particularly the primary basic healthcare, where we will improve those indices that have really been challenging over the years.
Thank you so much. I think that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Honorable Dr. Balarabe Shehu Kakale, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Chairman Lahia Sak and Amaduri Health Initiative Nigeria, thank you so much. We do appreciate your time. And of course, we also like to appreciate Professor Ernest Ugo, Professor of Homeopathic Medicine and Chairman Nigeria Union of Practitioners of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, who joined us all the way from Enugu. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Now, right here in the studio, we had Dr. Dada Nakoa Usman, President, Modern Traditional Medicine Practitioner in Nigeria. He is also the TCAM National Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Health, and President, Green World Association for Medicinal Plants Conservation, Preservation, and Exhibition. Thank you so much for joining us for the conversation. Of course, we look forward to seeing more products, coming from this, from TCAM, in the market, and of course in pharmacists, and of course being acceptable by medical doctors, and then prescribing it to patients. Thank you so much. Of course, we also like to appreciate the one and the only Dr. John Tor Agbide, the neurotoxicologist, integrative medicine expert, Secretary General, West African Society of Nigeria, and Chairman TCAM Group. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And yes, pharmacist Zainab Ujudud Sharif, former traditional complementary and alternative medicine TCAM and coordinator TCAM Advocacy Group Nigeria, also a medicinal plants expert. Thank you for your insight this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's Good Morning Nigeria this Friday. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Have a swell weekend.
All right, Victor, as well, I guess I'll submit myself for checks by this team of doctors after the program. See you on Monday.